Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to my August monthly faves and fails. Today I feel like we've got a really nice eclectic mix of products. We've got some skincare, some nail stuff, some brow products and some makeups, of course. So without further ado, let's get started. Let's start off with the non-makeup items because I feel like some people just like want to rush past these, but that would be a mistake because we've got some diamonds in here, let me tell you. So first up, this is the Good Molecules Glycolic Exfoliating Toner. I've had this for a while now, but I've only been using this for probably the past 2 or 3 weeks. It's taken me a long time to get to this because I had a whole load of toners to go through, and I tried to use skincare in the order that I receive it. I do receive a lot of skincare. I got this in PR, which I feel super blessed because it just means that I can try all different products and really find the gems, the needles in the skincare haystack, if you will. And this is one of them. This is an absolutely glorious toner. This is probably my favorite. This is actually the first toner I feel like I've liked more than the Pixi Glycolic Toner. And that's saying a lot because I've gone through a whole barrel load of that stuff in my time, let me just say that. This one I just find it's maybe a little stronger than the Pixi. The Pixi is strong, so I feel like if you maybe have really sensitive skin, then this one, and you don't get on with the Pixi, I don't think you're like, this might be too much for you, just saying. I have skin, as I've told you before, like a rhino's hide. That's what my skin is like. And so for me, I want products to get right up in there. I want products to, like, you know, do their thing on my skin. I didn't plan that. That's interesting. But this one, it does it for me. It's got some really super duper exfoliating power behind it. And I just find like it really leaves my skin glowing and exfoliated. I use this morning and evening. It doesn't cause me any issues or sensitivity or anything like that. But like I said, I don't have sensitive skin. It does what it says on the tin, which is what I flipping love about Good Molecules. I feel like their products, they keep them simple and they have one job and they do it exactly as promised. And this is no exception. Next up, some nail varnishes. These are from OPI. You guys know that OPI is just it for nail polish where I live, where I'm from. This from my house where I live is what I mean. So I just live for all their collections. I feel like they nail it every time. I really just love the formula of these nail varnishes, and these are quite different for me. I don't like this. This is like my normal nail jam, okay? Like barely noticeable, very nude, very natural. That's what I like. These, as you'll notice, don't fit into that box. Not even a little. So this is metallic composition, this rose gold, I guess, shade. And then this gorgeous blue is Angel's Flight to Starry Night. I don't know why they have to make the names so hard, but both are super glittery. These are the only 2 shades I picked up from their Downtown LA collection. I think that's correct. And they're just stunning. My little boy, he loves me painting his nails, and this is like his favorite ever color. And this one is just gorgeous. I don't like shimmery, sparkly nail polishes. I like just the shiny or even a matte nail polish. I have been known to enjoy. Shimmer and sparkle, it makes me feel like a 13-year-old back in school, because that's all I ever did when I was in school, was sparkly nail polish. And it just makes me feel, I don't know, I'm not drawn to them, but I like the look of these. They seemed a bit different, especially the blue, and I actually really enjoy them, and they just seem really fun. And I like playing with them, and my little boy loves them too, so, you know, we can match, which I always enjoy. Now, a couple of products that I have been wanting to talk about for a while now. I've been using both these products for like a couple of months, so a long time, but they need a long time before I'm willing to talk about them for very different reasons. So if you guys don't know, I've been laminating my brows now for, I'd say maybe 8 or 9 weeks, and let's start off with the Rapidbrow. So this is a eyebrow enhancing serum. I've been using this basically since I started laminating my brows, and this does have some sort of claims of, you know, increasing brow growth and everything. But for me, I wanted to use this for like a conditioning treatment for my brow, if you will, because laminating, it's, you know, can be damaging to the brows, and you can only do it so often so they don't get too dry or damaged or anything like that. So I do like to pamper my brows now that I'm, you know, essentially perming them every few weeks. You know, lamination, it is a chemical treatment, so to some degree, to some extent, it's got to be damaging to the brows. It's got to be. And I don't want my brows to fall out. I don't want my brows to dry out. I want them to be living their best life. They deserve that. They've been through a lot. They went through the 90s, okay? And because I'm laminating my brows, you may notice this one. Is it this one? There's some stuff going on, and it's because I'm trying to just grow them in as well as possible. And this stuff has been like working miracles. I've got so much more hair like towards the front of my brow. This whole area that was completely bald is filling in slowly and growing in slowly, and the length and thickness and healthiness of my brows has absolutely completely changed the game. I use this morning and night. I don't need a brow gel anymore because of the lamination, but I use this in the mornings just to run through my brows, and it just tidies them up and puts them in the shape that I want for the day. And it just, yeah, I feel like my brows are taken care of. They feel really good and healthy still, and I'm definitely noticing an increase in hair and health and growth as well, and new hair where there was no hair before. And it must be down to this stuff. Now, you may also know, if you watch my video talking about lash serum, that I was using a lash serum. So I was using Revitalash, different brand, and I stopped using it for a few different reasons, but the main reason being that it was just making my lashes go wild. Like, it was too much. My lashes were getting curlier and curlier, and I just no longer liked the way they look. It was just a lot to deal with. So I weaned myself off. I weaned my lashes off, and I just really wanted to take care of them. Like, I didn't want them all to fall out at once. I didn't want to go bald. I didn't want them to lose condition, because they were in fabulous condition. I will give them that. They were happy and thriving, just not in the way that I wanted them to. So I've now weaned myself off. I started off because I was using it daily, the Revitalash, and I went down to like every few days, then once a week, until I felt like, okay, because I just didn't want to go cold turkey. I just felt like it was better to wean myself off. And that whole time, and continuing now, so for a good maybe a month, I've been using this Rapidshield. So this is an eyelash conditioner. So it's not a serum. It's not designed to increase lash growth. I think, you know, we've had enough of that. But this is like a clear mascara. So it has like a mascara wand. You can see there against my jumper, it's a bit more helpful. And you comb it on. I use this at night. You can use it in the day as well if you'd like, but it may cause issues, so I don't know what it would be like to put it on under mascara, because it feels like a clear mascara. So it kind of, you know, coats your lashes, and you can feel that it's there. It feels like you've got a coat of mascara on, and it's conditioning, protecting lashes. So I felt like this was really good thing for me to use at night to stop my lashes getting so smushed and everything, because I'm a side sleeper, and that's part of the issue with my super long curly lashes, is they're getting a bit smushed and going in crazy directions. This has definitely helped improve that. I feel like it's taking care of my lashes and protecting them, particularly at night, being a side sleeper, because it's got that coat on them, and it's not like wearing mascara because there's no colour there or smudging or anything like that, but it has something on the lashes, so that if you're sleeping and rubbing them and you're sleeping on them and all of that jazz that I shouldn't be doing, but I can't help it because I'm asleep, all right? I don't mean to. This is just giving them something to protect them over the top. So this has been really, really great. I'm definitely waking up with my lashes less smushed and less creased and squashed. And thanks to that, I feel like this journey can come to a nice close with my lashes still in decent tact. So last but not least, for the skincare items, this is the L'Occitane. It's a hand gel cream. So it's a hand cream. That's what it is, a hand cream with an extra word. Now, some L'Occitane stuff I don't love because it's very heavily fragranced, I find, L'Occitane. Some of it is just too much. This one, I feel like it's just enough. And maybe because it's not going on my face, it's on my hands as well. It's not so overwhelming because it's not as close to the nose, you know. I have really destroyed my hands this month. I go a bit nuts with the cleaning in summer holidays just because, one, my kids are home more and that just, you know, quadruples the filth. And 2, just because I'm home and my kids are here and I just like to keep things super clean. I also go into that like spring cleaning mode. I do the oven, fridge, freezer, I do my old defrosting, I do my deep cleaning. It's like, you know, a whole thing. That's what I like to do in the summer holidays. And my hands were in ribbons from like the scrubbing and just all of the chemicals and things. This has been like heaven on my hands. It's lovely. And it really has been very soothing to what were some pretty sore and angry hands at one time. This I've been putting on, I mean, just constantly all of the time. And it's lovely. It smells really beautiful and fresh and clean, but it's actually really nourishing and my hands just feel lovely after using it and protected and, you know, recovering from all of the scrubbing. So now let's talk about the makeups and what a mixed bag we've got. Now, first of all, I'm going to talk about Mothership 9. Now, this is pretty new to me. I've only used this a couple of times. Usually I would have liked to have used this a few more times before I spoke about it in my favourites, but I'm having to film this a little early this month just because of summer holidays and everything, and I didn't want to leave it out. So here are my early thoughts, my initial thoughts, having used this just a couple of times. I'm a little underwhelmed, and I really did not think I would be saying that. I love a Mothership palette. I love Pat McGrath. This is like my type of colour story. And there's nothing wrong with the formula, all of that, all of the shadows that I've used so far. I've pretty much used all of them. I really enjoy and I think they're great quality. But it's just actually using this in person, having it on my eyes. A lot of the shadows, a lot of the shades are just not quite what I thought they were going to be like. I thought this was probably the shade I was the most excited about because I really wanted like a real brown, like new. I feel like for me, what I'm crying out for in my heart of hearts from Pat McGrath is like a neutrals, an all brown neutrals every day, like Bieber, but make it Pat McGrath. That's what I'm like desperate for. And I felt like this was like a start to that. And also this shade as well. I thought this was going to be browner versus actually it's quite purple. Same with this one. I thought it was going to be like a stunning, like neutral lid shade that I could top with, you know, this. Again, this is much more gold. I actually used this. Have a little look at my peepers just there. So I used this shade as a topper on top of this one today, and I wish that was like just more neutral, and it's very quite gold. So actually anything that I like using this shade in every Mothership, these special shades, I like to use it just to give me amp up the glitter, the shimmer, the oomph, the gloriousness of the look. Now this one, you can't put it on top of anything without it turning it very like yellow gold, because of just, it has a lot of colour in it. Hang on, let me show you. So you can probably see there, it's just got quite, there's a pink gold type of shift there. So you can see it better, I think, in the swatch than you probably could in the pan. So I think just from looking at this shade, I didn't realise it was going to be quite that, it was going to have that impact on the lid. I thought I'd be able to put that over the top of some of these shades and just amp them up, but it changes the colour of them because it has actually quite a lot of base colour in there for these special shades. This one is just probably just much too bright. This is probably the shade that I won't really use in the palette, which I knew, but then it means I don't have like a shade just to add oomph in the palette. And this is much more purple than I was hoping. It was a bit more brown. Same with this, it has quite a lot actually of a rosy tone to it when I thought it was going to be more brown, if that makes sense. So yeah, and as we know, these shades we all have a million of when it comes to Pat McGrath. Same with this one. This I haven't used yet, so these are the two that I haven't used yet, I think. And I haven't used this one, but you know, it's again, we've all got a Pat McGrath gold. So as much as I thought this was going to be like the perfect mix between Divine Rose 1 and 2, and in some ways it is, but in some other ways I feel like it's neat. It doesn't hit what I love about both of those palettes. It doesn't really hit either of them So as much as I thought this was going to be like my favourite, it's actually my least favourite of those Divine Rose 1, 2. This would be third. So yeah, at the moment I'm a little bit underwhelmed and like, oh, it's not quite what I thought it was going to be. But having said that, the formula is fantastic. I think all of the shades are beautiful. They're just not quite what I was hoping for or looking for, sadly. So next up, let's talk about these Dior blushes. Now these, so I picked up both of these from the Birds of a Feather collection. So we have Coral Flight and we have Nude Glide. I think those are correct. These really surprised me. These are definitely like two of the kind of blushes that I go for. So I go for these coral, peachy, orangey, anything in that family. And then I go for these sort of nude, understated natural shades. So they were very safe as far as purchasing blush shades for me. I knew that they'd be fine. I knew I would like them. I didn't expect to love them as much as I do. I think they're both just stunning. This one for me is just it. It really came for my Pat McGrath Desert Orchid. I always get that name mixed up. It really did as like my favourite sort of everyday nude type of blush. It really came glitter all over my entire hand from that Pat McGrath palette. But I think they're both stunning and the finish of this is gorgeous. It's just the most gorgeous luminosity on the cheeks, not too glittery or shimmery. It's stunning. Love it. It's very hard these days with my blush collection looking the way it does, i.e. insane, to actually wow me with blushes, but these really did, and I've really loved them, and they've been quite the surprise, I will tell you. I was not expecting to love them as much. And now for the Dior Luminizers. So these are Couture, Forever Couture Luminizers. I have two shades of these. The first one I picked up, which was the Rosewood Glow, which I used in my review. This is the first one I tried, and I was unsure about it because the colour was slightly off. It's quite a cool and it is quite pink, so it just on the cheek, you can see there it's going to leave a cast when you use it quite heavily on my cheek. Maybe a little too deep for me, maybe a little too cool. If I use this with my if I use this one with my Sonia G fluffy brush from her Lotus collection, this looks gorgeous. That's the way for me to use this. It doesn't leave enough colour that way to throw it off as far as undertones working for me. But I then picked up this shade. I bought this from my friend Tavia, Chic Profile Official. This is Nude Glow, and this one was just like, this smashed it out the park for me. It's more my cup of tea. It's much better for my skin tone, as you can see there already. You can see how much more that's kind of melting into my skin tone, even with a stripe laid down quite heavily. But this Nude Glow shade, she's doing it again with the weird talking. This Nude Glow shade is much more smooth and soft and understated and glowy, as opposed to like beaming of the Rosewood Glow. I don't know if that you'd be able to see there, but it is much less beaming than the Rosewood Glow, and therefore it's much more my cup of tea. I think this is gorgeous and a really lovely everyday highlight. It's not insanely special. It's not anything I don't already own. Very similar. The Natasha Denona I Need a Nude is kind of in a similar ballpark, as is the Charlotte Tilbury, but it is a lovely highlighter that I will definitely get lots of use out of. And next up, a random blush that I picked up this month. This is from MAC and it's Cheeky Bits. I went through and decluttered all of these Extra Dimension blushes from MAC when I did my blush, bronzer, my cheek products declutter, and then brought another one. I mean, what's happening? But the reason was that I saw a few posts about this specific shade and I decided to give it another go, because I think my issue with those blushes was that the shades I picked up were just not quite doing what I wanted them to, and this shade does it for me. This is like summer in a blush. It's gorgeous. I think it's less shimmer and more luminosity as well. It's so luminous, and yet you really can't see glitter. Bear in mind, if you're seeing lots of glitter, it's from the Pat McGrath swatches that I did, not this blush. This is like sheen, and just such a pretty summer blush. So this one for me, just like all of the others, can fall by the wayside because this kind of just peaks it for me. Out of that whole range of extra dimension blushes from MAC, this is like the one. Cheeky Bits is where it's at. That sounds strange. So now let's talk about this Nars colour correctors. So Nars sent me across a couple of their creamy, radiant creamy colour correcting products. This is the medium shade, which is the shade that I have been using. I've used it today, in fact. I'm not a colour correcting type of girl. I use as few products as possible, and so I just want concealer to do its job. You know, I don't want to have to use a colour corrector and then a concealer. I feel like what I'm working with as far as under eye situations should be like coverable with just a concealer. But I decided to give this a try because I know I'm not the only person on the planet, and you guys sometimes, you know, you rely on me to tell you if something's good or not, and lots of you do like colour correctors and want to use them. So I thought I'd give it a go, even though I'm no expert and it's not something I'm really familiar with. This is amazing. Okay, this is amazing. I use this. What I love about this, first of all, is this teensy little wand. So it's not like, I thought this was going to be like a concealer wand. It's tiny. So you can be very precise and use a tiny amount, which is what I do. Just literally where my worst, literally that glitters all over my face. Where my worst discoloration is where I put a little bit of this. And when I tap this in, it's basically fully gone. My under eye darkness is almost completely gone. Now obviously you can't just use this on its own. Well, you could do, but for me it does look orange. Okay, it's like, you can see it's quite peachy, so it would leave my under eye looking quite dull and quite peachy and strange of a colour to have there, but it completely cancels out my under eye situation amazingly. Pretty much cancels it out. So yeah, if you are looking for this, and also I have used this under a couple of concealers, it's never caused an issue. So I buff it in with a little brush, my little Sonia G Fusion concealer brush, and then I'll leave it a moment, not long, and then go in with concealer. It's never caused an issue with my concealer. I don't find it increases like creasing or any problems whatsoever. So if you do like these types of products, this one I was really impressed with. I was not expecting to like it, but it's actually really great and has helped me like this next product, which is the Lancome Teint Idole All Over Concealer. Teint Idole Ultra Wear All Over Concealer, to give it its full name, which we might as well because it's right there. So if you watch my review of this one, I liked it, didn't love it. Two reasons why I didn't love it was, one, it's slightly creased, and two, it just doesn't fully cover everything I want it to cover as much as like my Pat McGrath Holy Grail. So today I used this and then this over the top. So this now covers everything I want it to cover. If you have this and you've got the same problem as me, that it's not quite covering everything you need it to, this will solve that problem for you. I also found that somehow using these together, I don't get as much creasing. I guess because this isn't going, there's like a bit of a barrier between my skin and the concealer because this is going in there first. Maybe that's why, but these two together look very beautiful. That doesn't make me love this concealer anymore, because obviously I don't want to have to use another product to make a concealer work. This is still very much alike. It's decent. I can use it now. I have this to go underneath, but obviously I can do that with my Pat McGrath concealer. I don't need the colour corrector. It won't crease on its own and it covers everything on its own. So I still obviously prefer that one, but I can now use this and be happy with how my concealer looks if I go in with this one first. So that was a real win for me, because now I can use this one and be happier with how my concealer looks. I think if you have like barely anything to cover under your eyes, you'll probably much prefer this one to how I got on with it, because obviously it's all subjective as to what you've got under your eyes, and I know that some of my friends here on YouTube, Stephanie Marie and Angie from Hot and Flashy, have absolutely loved this one, and it's like their favourite ever. So it's definitely worth a try if you've got less to cover, you're less worried about darkness and more worried about how it feels and how natural, because it does look and feel like nothing, like no concealer there. Very, very light and nice and hydrating. So yeah, depending on your priorities, you may love this one. But for me, I have to do things to make it work, so therefore I can't be bothered. I'm very lazy. Now, YSL sent me a few little products to try over the last couple of weeks, and this one is the only one I've managed to like properly give a go, because it's the lipsticks. You know, there's only so much testing a lipstick needs before you can decide if you like it. This one is so different for me. It's called something beige, something about beigeness. It's number 11, and this is the Slim Matte. This is the first one of these lipsticks I have. I've tried the Glow Matte, which is not really matte at all, and I've tried lots of their shiny volupte type of formulas. I've never tried their Slim Matte, and I really like it. This is probably one of the most comfortable and flattering matte lipstick formulas I've ever tried. Has that glorious smell that we all love. This shade, when I swatched it, I was like, I mean, that's not really my type of shade at all. It's a bit pink and just, yeah, not really for me. When I put it on, it's very unusual. Let's do it. Let's put it on. That will help. Let's show you. Let's let you be the judge. So, horrific application aside, because I was just rushing and I've basically smeared this just willy-nilly about the place. But I don't have any other lipsticks that are anything like this colour, and I thought I was going to hate it and it was going to be really unflattering, washing me out. I think this is really pretty. This is very spring friendly. I think I'll love this even more in winter when I'm just a little bit fairer. But oh, this is such a pretty and quite unique shade, and I really wasn't expecting to like it, but I do. So next up, let's talk about this Charlotte Tilbury Nudegasm. Ooh, stay there. Super Nudes collection. We'll talk about the lipsticks separately. Let's talk first about this face palette now. These two products I'm just living for. This is what I have on my cheeks, the blush and the highlight. And I did use a little bit of the sculpting shade down here as well. The formula of all these products I just think is gorgeous and lovely and beautiful, and I love the highlight and the blush. I love the packaging. All of them perform gorgeously. Beautiful products. You know there's a butt coming, don't you? There's a butt coming. You can hear it, you can tell. Here's the thing about this. I feel like because they released this in one shade, in this universal shade that's going to work for everybody, my concern is that in trying to make it work for everybody, which honestly it's just never going to when it comes to cheek products, I feel like it almost works for nobody in a complete sense of the 4-pan face palette. Sure, we can use some of these shades on our eyes, but it is called a face palette. We want it to be a face palette. And I feel like because there's only one shade, it just doesn't work completely for anyone, in my opinion. If you're super fair, you probably aren't going to be able to use the highlight, and you won't be able to use the deeper sculpting shade. If you're around my skin tone, I can use 3 of the shades. This one does nothing. If you are deeper skin tone, you definitely aren't going to be able to use this. You may be able to use the 3 of these. Possibly that blush may not show up a huge amount on you. But yeah, you see what I'm saying? I feel like by trying to cater to everybody, we kind of cater to nobody. Because no one wants to buy a palette that's expensive with 4 shades and not be able to use 1 or 2 of them. So that's the but, okay? So I feel like I'm okay with not being able to use this one. These 3, I like all of them. I do wish, instead of having these 2, because like I said, I can't use this one, and I don't think many people are going to use both of these. It's either one is going to work for you or the other. There should have been a bronzer instead of one of these, and there should have been 2 different palettes, a lighter and a deeper, and then it would have been like the greatest face palette of all time. If this had been the sort of light medium palette and we'd had a bronzer in here, and this had been like between these 2 shades, and then there's a deeper palette with all of these much richer and deeper, it would have smashed it out of the park. So it's a little disappointing because I think the formula is stunning. The idea is great. I think we should have done 2 palettes and all of our problems would have been solved. But yeah, the 3 shades that I can use, I think they all perform beautifully, and I'm obsessed with both the blush and the highlight. They're stunning, right up my street. But there is one shade that really does nothing on me in the palette. I have a whole, I mean, you can see it's just barely shows on my skin tone. So yeah, there's definitely a shade in here that is useless to me, and there's definitely going to be at least one shade that is useless to you depending on what your skin tone is. So yeah, I really wish there had been 2, and then we could have all had palettes where we can use all 4 shades, which would have been much better for everybody. Now, as far as the lippies, there's definitely something in here, I feel like, for everybody. I finally got my mitts on Runway Royalty. That was the lipstick I had on at the beginning of this video before I changed it over to the YSL shade. So if you want to see that one on at last, then you can. It's what I'm wearing at the beginning of the video. So we finally have that one. I mean, I swatched and tried all of the rest of these lipsticks on in my review of the Super Nudes collection, and they're just stunning. As I said in that, Cover Star is too light for me. It's very foundation lipsy. So yeah, too light for me without a liner, but with a liner I can certainly use that one. But oh my goodness, my pick of this whole collection has got to be Catwalking. I love this, and I actually wore this the other day with my Lisa Eldridge Affair gloss over the top, and it was delightful. Absolute delight. I love all of these lipsticks. I think they're gorgeous. I love that there's a much better range. You know, there's a nude in here for like all skin tones. If you like a pinker, if you like a deeper, if you need a lighter one, if you have deeper skin tone, if you have a lighter skin tone, there's something in here. So I feel like this is a great little curated nudes set, because yeah, you've got, you know, if you like a glowing, not a matte, you've got Runway Royalty. I wish more of these were that kissing formula, because I do feel like for most people we prefer the kissing to the matte. Is that right? Or is that just me? I feel like that's what a lot of people, I see a lot of people saying that the kissing is their favourite. So yeah, I wish a couple more of these had been kissing. Like imagine Super Fabulous in a kissing formula. Yes, please. I love how these generally are more neutral and browny. There's definitely some browner options as opposed to everything being very pink, because I feel like Charlotte Tilbury lipsticks generally there's a lot of pink and a lot of peach, and there's some real neutrals in here which I feel like people were missing from the brand. So yeah, the lipsticks, a great little range in my opinion. Another range of lipsticks that I have loved this month are the new MAC Lustreglass Lipsticks. What are we talking about? These are great, such a great formula. Phenomenon is one of my favourite nudes of all time. I have just been reaching for this one non-stop. I love this like sheer to medium coverage formula. Again, I have all of these in my review, swatched if you want to see them on lips as well. This is Can't Dull My Shine. I know Phenomenon doesn't appear to be available in the US, which is killer because it's my favourite shade. Then we have Posh Pit, so Phenomenon, Can't Dull My Shine, Posh Pit, which is a little too pinky for my liking. And then we bring out the big guns, TN Teaser. Oh, these are just, I love the formula. They're so nourishing and hydrating and glossy and shiny. Should we put one of these on as well? Am I letting you down again? Let's put Phenomenon, as I've been going on about it. Here she is. I mean, this has been like my go-to in my handbag staple ever since they arrived in my house. They've been in, this one has been in my handbag because I just love it. It's just so easy and flattering and goes with everything and just very easy to reapply. I love the formula and already have ordered like several more. So yeah, that's how much I like them. And last but not least, a lipstick from Pat McGrath. This is not new, but it is new to me. I've been after this lipstick 4 months. It's been out of stock forever and finally got my mitts on it. And this is Obsessed, and I am, you'll never guess what. I'm obsessed. You didn't see that coming, did you? I picked this up after watching Morgan Turner's review of, or her collection, her Pat McGrath lipstick swatches. This one had me. It had me. It's called a matte trance, but it has a lot of sheen to it there. It's definitely not a matte. I'd say it's like a satin. It's definitely quite shiny for a matte. The colour payoff is insanity. And you guys, whenever I've worn this on my Instagram, here on YouTube, you guys have been loving it. It's the most beautiful orange red. The pigment and the formula is an insanity. Like, I've never known anything like it. And I'll let you into a little secret. If you were to whack a gloss over this, your life will be changed. I used my Fenty gloss, the orange one, I forget the name, not the plumping one. We don't talk about that one. Just whatever that's called. Is it Fussy? No, I can't remember the name of it. But the orange gloss from Fenty, and oh, it was like another plane, another planet of delightful. So there you have it, guys. Those are all of my favourites from the month of August. Please let me know what you've been loving, what products you've been really enjoying this month. I would love to know, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye, 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 bye.